Tonight, primary preview. A Democratic Duluth Senate race is picking up steam. Big difference separating the frontrunners on the left.
And COVID hits the National Guard. A training mission out west is carrying on despite an outbreak among the soldiers.
Plus, an urgent plea from the Red Cross. The nation's blood supply is dwindling. How you can safely donate during the pandemic.
From CBS3 Duluth, this is the CBS3 News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Kristen Bakke.
And I'm Anthony Matt. Thanks for joining us. As the August 11th primary election draws closer, all eyes are on a tight Democratic race for a Duluth Senate seat.
Newcomer Jen McEwen is hoping to oust incumbent Eric Simonson at the Minnesota Capitol. CBS3's Jesse Slater spoke to both candidates today to learn more about the issues they hope to take on.
Lifelong Duluthian and attorney Jen McEwen has been campaigning on issues she calls basic needs, issues like affordable health care and the housing crisis.
We put as many pieces in place as we can to lift up people's security and lift up the care that we're able to give one another.
Eric Simonson, the incumbent and two-term DFL state representative, is also focusing on health care, police reform, and his top priority.
Our number one focus has to be on jobs. It's all going to be about jobs.
Simonson places jobs as a key issue while the pandemic ripples the economy. McEwen stresses the importance of addressing climate change and transitioning to renewable energies.
It's critically important for our leadership here in Duluth and in the northeast part of Minnesota to be moving actively toward that transition.
Simonson says he's not dismissing the environmental argument, but wants to reach compromise.
We need to protect our environment going forward for our kids, and at the same time, we have to have jobs in this economy.
If elected, McEwen vows to put special interest aside.
Senator who's operating from a sense of wanting to serve the public first and foremost, that they're not looking out for their own interests.
Simonson feels his track record on the Senate floor is needed at a time where the state is facing hard times.
Minnesota, as well as the rest of the nation, is going to be facing a recession, and we've got to find ways out of that. So I think having experienced leadership at the Capitol will be critically important for Duluth.
The primary election is August 11th. You are encouraged to vote by mail-in ballots, but in-person voting is still an option in Minnesota. In the Republican primary for the District 7 seat, Donna Bergstrom is taking on Art Johnston. We hear from both Republican candidates at a later date.
And with that primary election, primary elections will look different this year as COVID-19 cases continue to rise in our region. City officials in Superior and Duluth are expecting the polls to be pretty empty. Many voters are using absentee ballots. For people who do head to a polling place to vote, city officials say you may have to wait outside to help with social distancing. They also want you to think about what time you go.
Usually we'll see a rush real early in the morning before folks go to work, and then after between 5 and 8 p.m. So if you're able to go during the day, that would be most appreciated.
Most polling places in Duluth and Superior will be open. To find out where yours is or how to get an absentee ballot, you can head to our website, cbs3duluth.com. And Dave's here for some weather. Dave, pretty calm out there now, but some people dealing with some storm damage tonight.
Yeah, earlier in the evening, of course, we had that storm warning in portions of Lake County. And then just north of Duluth, from Grand Lake Township through Island Lake, there was a rambunctious line of clusters of cells going through. Knocked some trees down in some places, and also a funnel cloud spotted near Island Lake. Temperature-wise today, the highs went anywhere from cooler than normal in Orr at 73 to normal in Ely at 77 to 83 degrees in Superior, warmer than normal. And it's the heat that was a component for many towns that helped fuel the start of these low pressure systems that came through, just a little trough of low pressure. Well, the heat's going to stick around and get even warmer for tomorrow, and that's probably going to make the storms tomorrow night and through Saturday morning even more important. But the Doppler map right now shows those lines of isolated storms wrapping up for the most part, though they're still rumbling through parts of northwestern Wisconsin. Quick look at our forecast for tomorrow says a brief visit from higher pressure will make for a calm day during the daylight hours and a mostly sunny sky, but later on, late tomorrow night through Saturday morning, like I mentioned, even stronger storms could come to call, and we'll show those to you coming up in just a few more minutes.
Thanks, Dave. New tonight at 10, the Minnesota National Guard confirms a handful of soldiers tested positive for coronavirus while on a training deployment. The 134th Armored Brigade Combat Team is at the National Training Center at Fort Irwin, California. The unit includes members from the Northland. The Guard wouldn't say how many had fallen ill. They say they've been screening the soldiers, including daily symptom and temperature checks, and isolating those who are sick. The commander of the 143rd said in a statement they're learning to operate in this new environment and mitigate health risks. He said they remain committed to the health and well-being of Guard soldiers. The soldiers are training ahead of a deployment to the Middle East next year. They will be screened before returning home to Minnesota.
After seeing a spike in cases, the city of Bayfield is now requiring people to wear masks in public spaces, both in and outdoors. The number of cases in the Chequamegon Bay area jumped from 5 to 15 after the July 4th holiday. Bayfield's mayor says to protect the small community, they're now requiring masks indoors in any business or city office. People also have to wear masks when they're outside in public places and unable to social distance. The city is also asking Bayfield County to issue a mask ordinance. Meanwhile, the Washburn County Health Department also issued an advisory today recommending people wear masks when they're inside public places. The new guidance comes after the county's COVID level rose from low to medium yesterday. The county cited its high number of older and high-risk residents as a reason for the mask advisory.
The city of Virginia is pausing several youth sports programs after a softball player tested positive for COVID-19. City leaders say they learned about the confirmed case last night. They decided to suspend the Babe Ruth, Junior and Senior Legion baseball and all girls softball programs. Organizers say they made the decision with help from health experts and with community safety in mind. Anyone with questions or concerns is asked to call Virginia's Parks and Rec Department. We have that number on our website.
Target is joining the list of retailers that will require customers to wear masks to slow the spread of COVID-19. The policy will go into effect on August 1st. More than 80% of Target's 1,800 stores already require customers to wear masks due to local and state regulations. Target said Thursday that it will hand out masks at entrances to those who need them. The nation's largest retailer, Walmart, announced this week that masks would be mandatory in all stores starting on Monday. Now, Starbucks, Best Buy, and Kohl's also have put mandatory face shield rules in place.
Tonight, an urgent plea for help from the Red Cross as the nation's blood supply is dwindling because of the pandemic. The organization's CEO says it needs 13,000 people to donate every day. CBS News correspondent Nora O'Donnell met with the CEO earlier this week to learn more.
Wonderful veins you got.
She loves my veins.
Yes, I do.
It was my first time, but about 6.8 million Americans donate blood every year. This year, the Red Cross says the supply chain challenges are unprecedented.
That's a lot of blood.
The entire donation process takes about an hour.
That was so easy.
But every 2 seconds, someone in the U.S. needs blood.
And it's one bag you donate and saves up to 3 lives. So you're doing a good thing.
The Red Cross gets the vast majority of its donations from blood drives. Since the pandemic began, 37,000 have been canceled.
The need for blood is constant.
Gail McGovern is CEO of the American Red Cross.
What does it mean for hospitals if there's a shortage in these blood supplies?
They can't perform life-saving surgeries. Trauma patients need the blood supply. People that are receiving chemotherapy need life-saving platelets. We hate it when we have to ration the blood supply for our hospitals.
Ration the blood supply?
Yeah, we will tell them we're running short, so please forego certain elective surgeries.
Many people find the idea of donating blood a bit daunting to begin with, let alone during a pandemic.
We are taking every single possible precaution. We have everyone wearing masks. Everyone has to have their temperature taken. We have the beds socially distanced 6 feet away.
Blood is not tested for COVID-19, since respiratory diseases aren't known to be transmitted by transfusions. But as a new incentive to donors, blood is now tested for COVID antibodies that may show if someone has had the virus. Some, like Tim Davin, don't need an incentive. He's donated platelets more than 20 times.
Why do you donate so regularly?
My father had a rare form of blood cancer, so when he was sick, he was able to stay with us longer because other people had donated.
For more information about giving blood, you can text the word donate to 202-217-1107.
Our above average summer temperatures are driving water temps up too. That's left fishing guides who cruise Minnesota's inland lakes to make a tough decision. According to a University of Minnesota report, normally the water temperature on Lake Vermilion in July is around 70 degrees. But Bob Benson, a guide whose business relies on the lake's muskie population, says he's been measuring temperatures this month and they're 10 degrees higher than average. Minnesota DNR experts say that warmer water temp creates less oxygen, which puts a big stress on certain fish. Benson says he's noticed.
It's no different from us. If we're out in 110-degree weather and you exert a lot of energy, it's hard to recover. So these fish are now having a very hard time to recover.
That's led Benson to consider some big changes to his business this summer.
Still to come on Live Local CBS 3, the power of pizza, how a local organization is helping the community by serving up a slice of pie.
Well, let's talk a little bit about rain. Really just a trace here in Duluth today. Other towns got a little bit more. Still running an inch surplus for the month of July, and more rain is on tap for tomorrow night and Saturday, along with a chance for severe storms. We'll talk about them coming up after the break.
Watch Dave, Caitlin, and Austin for local weather you can trust on CBS.
For 1 week only, Home Furniture has put everything on sale, and you can finance it free for 6 years. Plus, get free no-contact shipping. Shop in-store or online. No interest for 6 years. Now at Home Furniture.
This is ultra-fast, insanely powerful, fiber-powered internet with speeds from 60 meg up to 1 gig, supercharged home Wi-Fi, and 99.99% network reliability. It's gonna rock your world. Take your internet to the extreme, starting at just $19.99 a month for a year. Call 844-EXTREME2.
It's 2020 summer clearance time at Duluth Dodge. Purchase a new Jeep Cherokee and finance for 84 months at 0% interest. Wow, 0% for 84 months. Only at the new Duluth Dodge, 4755 Miller Trunk Highway or DuluthDodgeMinnesota.com.
If 2020 teaches us anything, it's that we need our public schools and educators more than ever to inspire tomorrow's scientists to find new ways to fight disease, to move tomorrow's citizens to find new ways to bridge race and class divisions, and, above all, to challenge tomorrow's leaders to find new ways forward. Believe in We Minnesota, electing lawmakers who will invest in, not cut, this essential resource.
I'm Eric Simonson, and I approve this message. As a husband and a father, as a neighbor and a firefighter, and as your proud state senator, I'm asking for your support in the DFL primary election in August. The pandemic and recent tragic events have been challenging all of us. In the Senate, I'm working to make sure this recovery prioritizes the health, safety, and economic security of working families. I'm fighting for justice and equality for our communities of color, and I'm working to make sure quality health care and housing is affordable for everyone.
Coming up Friday on CBS 3 this morning, we're hearing from local officials about how to prepare for the primary election coming up next month.
And most of Friday is looking pretty good, but strong to severe storms are likely Friday night and Saturday, and we'll have those details.
So wake up with us starting at 5 a.m.
Now at Home Sleep Express, get no interest financing for 6 years on any Beauty Rest. Plus, free delivery, setup, and a 120-day guarantee. Beauty Rest Pocketed Coil Spring supports body shape and diffuses partners' movements. 6-year financing on Beauty Rest. Now at Home Sleep Express.
CBS 3 Weather is brought to you by Lulich Implement. Now, the CBS 3 Duluth WeatherMax forecast with meteorologist Dave Anderson.
Well, the line of storms that came through parts of our region during the early evening hours didn't last too long, but it did pack a bit of a punch. As we've reported here near Island Lake, some folks did spot a funnel cloud, and around Grand Lake Township, Peter Luke got a picture of some trees down in his yard. Peter, of course, being one of our directors from this place from many years ago, even before me, so that was a long time ago. Well, it won't be a long time till we get our next round of storms. This time tomorrow night, we could be facing this situation again, bigger and badder perhaps. So we'll talk about that storm chance coming up. Right now, quick look at the current conditions at the airport in Duluth. It's 66 degrees. Relative humidity's gone up to 87%, and the humidity will be going up through the weekend. Again, for tomorrow night's storms, it'll add fuel to the fire and help aid and abet heavy precip, and the lift needed to create storms. Westerly winds going 7 miles per hour right now, and the air pressure, now that this evening's storms have pretty much wrapped up, it's going up. 1,014 millibars, 29.93 inches of mercury. Current temperatures in the UP are going 69 to 72, and in northern Wisconsin right now, 68 to 72 degrees. Northern Minnesota numbers, low 60s to mid-60s for a lot of the Iron Range communities and the Arrowhead, but International Falls has fallen to the upper 50s. Most places inland tonight will fall into the 50s. It's going to be probably warmer by the lake by a few degrees. Low 60s there most likely. Okay, to the Doppler map. So here's that line of showers and storms that went through the Arrowhead earlier this evening. They're still associated with the trough of lower pressure spun by the big low pressure system from the other day. It's still to our north, and it's still creating enough lift to bring us this varied weather activity that we saw earlier in the evening. And some of that did cross into northern Wisconsin and tried to tickle the upper peninsula as well. And we're still seeing a little bit here towards Bayfield and Ashland counties. Bottom line is, though, by 11 o'clock tonight, things will settle down for Minnesota and dry up and start to clear up. And in Wisconsin, maybe midnight there in that neck of the woods, a little bit later for the UP. Then for tomorrow, well, higher pressure takes over and makes it sunny during the daylight hours. But once we get into the evening hours, late at night, perhaps by 10 o'clock, that new low pressure system from the west will create a 60 to 80% chance for showers and storms. About 10 o'clock towards Grand Rapids, maybe midnight Twin Ports, 2 o'clock in the morning for Wisconsin and the UP will be the timeline. It'll perhaps hit us fairly hard overnight through about noon on Saturday. Forecast tonight in Minnesota says low temps down into the 50s, like we mentioned. 60% chance for the rain for maybe another 45 minutes. And for Wisconsin and Michigan, 30% chance for the rain, perhaps for another 2 hours or so. Low temps there near 60. Tomorrow, daytime highs, Wisconsin, Michigan, pretty summery, mid to upper 80s. Sunny day, storms possible very late at night. Minnesota, well, sunny day, stormy night, high temps near the 70s by the shore, and into the mid to upper 80s farther inland. So warm and humid for the weekend. There's the fuel for the storms. Very late Friday night through a good portion of Saturday, 60% chance for potentially strong showers and storms. And then once we have the low pressure system feast on that energy, Sunday is a little calmer and a little bit cooler, and that'll set us up for some 70s then from Monday through Wednesday. Saturday storm chance, Tony, like I mentioned, is a strong one. 50-50 shot on Tuesday is kind of up in the air right now. We'll have more details, of course, as we track that system after this one.
Yeah, and if things get severe on Saturday, you'll certainly we'll be keeping an eye on things. Caitlin will be here.
Caitlin will be here. Austin will pitch in and help out as well. We'll do the whole team effort.
Okay, we'll keep an eye on it. Thanks, Dave.
A slice of fun served up at the Heritage Center this afternoon. CBS 3's Natalie Grant spoke to organizers about why they wanted to give back to the community.
What's your favorite kind of pizza?
Cheese.
Why is cheese your favorite?
Because I don't like pepperoni.
The Boys and Girls Club hosted a drive-through pizza party Thursday afternoon. Branch Director Emily Burnside says it's all thanks to a big donation they received after shutting down for 6 weeks.
We really just wanted to do something to give back to not only our members, but to this community that has supported us.
That community turned up for the party. Courtney Maxim, a Lakeside resident, says it's a nice change from the usual.
And I think it's important for the kids to get out of the house. You know, they haven't really left the house in a while other than like going up to our cabin. But it's important to kind of get them out and around people at a safe distance.
The Lincoln Park Boys and Girls Club serves about 150 kids. Branches across the Northland help thousands more.
Our goal is to empower and enrich the lives of all children, regardless of race, regardless of gender, sexual orientation. We just want to be here for the community and provide support to families and children, helping them become responsible, engaged citizens.
A lesson she says is all more important today.
Along with free pizza, they also had a raffle for a new bike and a pack of 10 frozen pizzas.
After postponing fundraisers due to the pandemic, one Duluth nonprofit is back in action. PAVSA, the program for aid to victims of sexual assault, held a cupcake sale and barbecue today to raise money for the charity and advocacy group. The cupcakes sold out in just 1 hour, with more than 1,100 of them gone by noon. Executive Director Sarah Nemi says the fundraiser is a big relief during a time when outreach has been difficult.
It's difficult for staff morale when we have to, continue to cancel things and having kind of that unknown. And then it's also good, I think, for us to be present in the community so that survivors know we're still here, we're still providing services, and that you can still access us.
The nonprofit has continued services throughout the pandemic, including a 24-hour helpline and legal support.
Still to come, as another 1 million workers file for unemployment, experts fear this fall could bring a new wave of people out of a job. We have the details coming up.
CBS3 live cams are brought to you by Kohler Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac. You're not just getting a car, you're getting Kohler.
The nursing program at Fond du Lac Tribal and Community College is really challenging, but it has to be. It's approved by the Board of Nursing. And graduates here have been successfully passing the state board exam. They give you real-world experience with healthcare institutions across the community. I'm really glad I chose Fond du Lac Tribal and Community College.
Welcome to Medical Insight, a weekly healthcare feature brought to you by the experts at Essentia Health. Here's your host, Louis St. George.
Today on Medical Insight, Dr. Amanda Noska, an infectious disease specialist at Essentia Health, discusses Lyme disease, a tick-borne illness commonly found in this part of the country.
Throughout Minnesota, it's highly prevalent, but rural areas tend to be more heavily concentrated by virtue of the fact that Lyme has a transmission cycle that involves white-tailed deer and mice and woods. One of the very difficult things about Lyme disease is that it can be confused with other things. Lyme disease can present with headaches. Many people have headaches, and they're not always from Lyme disease, but it can present from headaches. Over half of the people with Lyme disease have profound fatigue. They feel very tired, in other words. Neck stiffness can happen. Loss of appetite, that's very common with Lyme disease. To diagnose Lyme, to actually get to the diagnosis, one thing that is very reliable is finding a bullseye rash on your body. That means you've been exposed to a deer tick within the last 7 to 14 days usually, and it's a sign of acute Lyme disease, early localized disease, and that is a telltale sign that you probably have Lyme disease and should get treatment.
Aside from daily tick checks, Dr. Noska suggests wearing dark-colored clothing, tucking pant legs into socks, and using DEET-containing repellent.
We have a very high incidence here, so removing ticks, if they're stuck to you, is important, especially before they're what we call engorged or full of blood. So you have 36 hours from the time a tick is on you to removal. You're unlikely to get Lyme disease because it takes a while to get into the body and manifest itself as infection.
For Medical Insight, I'm Louis St. George.
This Medical Insight was brought to you by Essentia Health. To learn more about the services we offer, visit essentiahealth.org.
Catch Eye on Parenting every Thursday at 6 with me, Leanne Valdez, on CBS3.
I chose a career that isn't easy, it's dangerous, and it's hard. Fond du Lac Tribal and Community College has set me up with everything I need to succeed. Through challenging classes, longer defensive tactics training, and instructors who work in the industry, Fond du Lac Tribal and Community College is setting me up for success.
Get your new John Deere tractor from Duluth Lawn and Sport, the region's largest power sports dealer.
When severe weather hits, tune to CBS3.
Tonight at 10, we'll be out here in the storm.
For up-to-date coverage morning and night.
Stay away from here.
Live local weather coverage on CBS3 Duluth. Watch Dave, Caitlin, and Austin for local weather you can trust on CBS.
The pandemic continues to take a punishing toll on American workers. More than 51 million have filed for unemployment since March, with 1.3 million doing so in the last week alone.
And the economic pain could linger. Airlines are now warning of big layoffs when congressional aid ends this fall. For Susanna Carr, becoming a United Airlines flight attendant, it was a dream come true. 6 years later, she's among nearly 36,000 United employees facing a possible furlough in October when government payroll support runs out. Passenger traffic is down about 80%, costing airlines roughly $6 billion this month alone. Now, American Airlines says it could furlough 25,000 workers, about 29% of its mainline employees. More than 17,000 Delta employees took exit packages, but the airline is still overstaffed, including roughly 2,500 excess pilots.
Coming up in sports, the show must go on. Full coverage from the Park Point 5-miler, plus an update on the Bucs star point guard. All this and more coming up right after the break.
Watch Anthony Matt weekdays at 6 and 10 p.m. on live local CBS 3 Duluth.
We're all doing our best to protect one another by remaining physically distant. We can also help our community's future by participating in health research. The All of Us Research Program is the largest active data collection effort, and it needs you to help find answers to health questions that have been out of our reach. Create an account, learn more, and complete surveys from the safety of your home. Call us, learn more online, or download the app to get started today. Together, we can help make a difference.
Day gets easier.
No one serves you better than Bullet Implement.
We dance for healing. We dance for one another. For connection. In ways like no other. Together or even apart. We are resilient. The 2020 census is here, and we need to do our part for our people.
Join the Greater Downtown Council for Movies in the Parking Lot, Friday nights all summer long. Watch movies from the comfort of your vehicle. Reserve your $10 parking spot ahead of time at downtownduluth.com/events/movies in the park. Present your digital ticket at the gate and enjoy. Bring your own food or have snacks from the concession stands. It all starts on July 17th with this blockbuster presented by Carlson Orthodontics and live local CBS3. Every second of every day, it happens. Something big, something worth talking about. News happens, and you can't wait for it. You need to be constantly digging, asking, hunting, wanting more. More truth, more real answers. More who, what, where, when, and why. And it's about you. It's about now. It's about wherever, whenever. At Live Local CBS3, it's about the news. Your neighborhood news.
When a crisis strikes, cash is the best form of relief. It can easily be transformed into health services, water, food, or clothes. Cash can travel everywhere and aid people all around the world. Donate. Smart. Fast. Donate cash.
Grandma's Marathon wasn't going to allow all their races this summer to be canceled, so thanks to some help with the city, they were able to successfully put together the Park Point 5-miler and 2-mile walk earlier today. CBS 3's Ryan Campos spoke with organizers on the significant changes made, as well as runners on their thoughts about the race.
A chip time in-person version of the Park Point 5-miler/2-mile walk was held Thursday, marking the first in-person race since the pandemic started.
We're just excited to be able to hold this race, give runners something for them to do to stay active, stay physically fit, keep their mind healthy as well as their body.
In accordance with the Minnesota Department of Health guidelines, 3-3-hour time blocks at sunrise, midday, and twilight throughout the day that included 10 waves up to 25 people.
We want them to do what they love, but to do it in a manner where they're completely comfortable. And so we're hoping that, all of the things that we put into place help them feel that way.
For Dwayne Hendrickson, participating in the 5-mile run, says to be out again running with competition gave him the extra drive to push himself.
It gives you some enthusiasm to keep going, pushes you some. So training on your own kind of gets a little bit mundane. This helps keep you on that run schedule, keep you running.
Hendrickson adds that more races should follow the same format like the one he raced in on Thursday, going forward to give all involved more options.
As long as we're living under the COVID threat going forward, I hope everybody kind of follows this routine, and you got a choice of virtual or a choice of a wave run, I think would be a way to do it, and help people make a choice of what they want to do for safety and, make them feel comfortable.
Two of them, so.
Tomorrow is the final day for those choosing the virtual option of the Park Point 5-miler and 2-mile walk to complete. All results can be found at grandmasmarathon.com. While the Park Point 5-miler went on in person, another area race announced a cancellation today. Ashland's Whistle Stop Marathon was canceled as of this afternoon. Officials considered many options in place of canceling, but were unable to reach a realistic solution. They also considered going virtual, but decided against it and felt that many runners are virtualed out. Runners have until August 31st to receive a refund or defer their registration to 2021. Shifting gears, the UMAC Conference announced some changes that will impact both the Saints and Yellow Jackets schedules this upcoming fall. Starting with men's and women's soccer, teams will now play 8 conference games and 2 non-conference games. Same for volleyball. They'll meet up with 8 conference teams, but will play 3 non-conference matches. As for cross country and golf, all competitions will be against league opponents. And finally, St. Scholastica football already has had 1 non-conference game against Hamlin dropped due to the MIAC only playing conference games this upcoming fall. NBA news, Bucks starting point guard Eric Bledsoe has still not joined the team in Orlando. He confirmed to TNT this evening the reason for that is because he tested positive for the coronavirus. Bledsoe added that he's feeling asymptomatic and feeling fine. When Bledsoe arrives in Orlando, he'll be subject to a minimum of a 2-day quarantine per league protocol. If he should have to miss a game or scrimmage, reserve guard George Hill will likely absorb some of those minutes. Now that's all for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
CBS3 closed captioning is brought to you by Essentia Health Pharmacies, keeping things safe, simple, and convenient through mail, local delivery, drive-through, and curbside pickup services.
For over 20 years, Scott Dietrichson Construction has taken roofing to a higher level. We offer a huge range of roofing options, asphalt shingles, rubber, and metal roofing, and Scott Dietrichson Construction is a TAMCO Pro-certified contractor. TAMCO offers a variety of shingle colors with 30 to 50-year warranties. We're following CDC guidelines and no-contact free estimates. Our staff is one that we know and you can trust. By not subcontracting our work, we've built a dependable team that gets the job done. Call Scott Dietrichson, your roofing expert, today.
This thing is really dusty.
Mining. It's a part of Minnesota's history that affects everyone in the Northland still to this day. From environmental issues to economics and so much more. Join me, Kristen Bakke, every Tuesday for Eye on Mining, a fair and unbiased report that answers the tough questions surrounding the world of mining.
Eye on Mining with Kristen Bakke. Tuesdays at 10 only on live local CBS3. Brought to you by Iron Mining Association.
Dude! You gonna pick that up? Because there's no poop fairy to do that for you. See? Take these. They're not just poop bags. They're pride bags. Because you're doing the right thing for your neighbors and for the health of the whole watershed. Gotta fly. There's a Chihuahua cranking one out in Leicester right now. There is no poop fairy.
Things are slowly starting to get back to normal. But our fight against COVID-19 isn't over yet. St. Luke's and Essentia Health are asking for your help. Whenever you will be around others who do not live with you, please wear a mask. This will help to protect everyone in our community. Masking continues to be one of the best defenses against the virus. Masks make a difference. On behalf of Essentia Health and St. Luke's, thank you.
Men's wardrobe provided by Mainstream Fashions for Men. Mainstream is your wedding headquarters. Downtown Duluth.
Well, today is World Emoji Day. Just think about everything you can say with the more than 1,800 emojis we currently have.
Okay, just real quick, what's your favorite one?
I don't really use them.
You don't?
I use a laughy, crying face
me
the
too.
most.
That's my favorite. These expressive icons started life as emoticons. Remember the sideways emoticons. Remember the sideways smiley face made up of a colon and closing parentheses. Well, a Japanese man turned them into pictures in 1990 for teens to use on their pagers. The word emoji means picture word in Japanese. The humble emoji sat rather unknown to the West until Apple included an emoji keyboard in its first iPhone. It was meant for the Japanese market, But users in the U.S. quickly discovered it, and the emoji boom began.
Don't worry, you're too young to remember the emoticons.
Thanks, Tony.
Dave, how are we looking for the rest of the night weather-wise?
Well, thunder booms came around earlier this evening, and there's that funnel cloud spotted near Island Lake. Mark Seberg sends us this picture here. Can't tell if it's rotating from this picture, but it sure looks like it was trying to form up a funnel. I think there's a chance for more severe weather coming our way tomorrow night, especially late at night, in through probably Saturday noon.
We'll see you tomorrow.